Okay, I'm going to start with music videos. We'll do that because if people have already, that one thing that I was getting ready to put on is like 45 minutes long, and I think it would be much cooler to just check out these like anywhere from 5 to 20-minute videos, and then we can discuss them in between. And if anybody, I don't know, as I said before, people may have got here. If anybody new is in here right now, I did dig out my entire Aural Hypnox collection and place it on my bed behind me here, so I may get the motivation here to like do a full coverage of all of my Aural Hypnox releases that I am equipped to discuss. Or maybe we'll just watch some videos and then I'll go back to sleep. We'll have to see how I feel. It is 4:30 a.m. here, and I had about 3.5 hours of sleep, so who knows? Who knows how I'm going to feel here in 20 minutes or a half hour? Let's start from the beginning. Part 1. Okay. Seance 1. Anybody else has any incense, now would be the time to light it. Good morning, Mr. Theater of Delays. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you have a name that you would like to go by, I will try to remember it. I might be able to do that since you're in here quite often. But I'll just keep calling you by your username otherwise. We are hanging out watching some Aural Hypnox videos. Steve, cool. Cool, I will try to remember to call you Steve. If I forget, my bad, and then I'll just revert to your username. But yeah, we'll give that a try. And I do have my collection of Aural Hypnox releases behind me, so maybe you guys can talk me into going through it, or maybe I'll just go back to sleep here in a little while. But I think after I drink this 20 ounces of coffee, I'm going to be done for. Or my sleep for the day is going to be done for. But it wouldn't be the first time that I drank a whole pot of coffee and then went right back to bed. just joining us, we're hanging out, checking out Aural Hypnox video releases here this morning. This one is the part 1 of the Underworld transmissions. And I got the idea for the name, the title here, The Grave Gravitations, from my shirt. Got anybody new in here and you're into creepy shit, give the site a follow, the channel. There should be a lot of cool shit going on here, including a real nice interview tomorrow with a pretty big dark ambient guy, Fragments. And we might have some actual live concerts on here in the future as well. I think I'll actually switch over here to the Templament R and then hop back into the Underworld transmissions. This is a bit more active viewing for anybody that's just stopping by, seeing what's going on in here.
I've been trying to write down, been trying to write them down, because after a while they're gone. But this particular dream, you know, it's stuck with me. I kept thinking about it. I found this place in the swamp. I emailed you some photos of it. Didn't you get them? Yeah, well, anyway, it's a totally isolated cabin. There's no working electricity, only one table, 3 chairs, a big old oil canister, and an old stove. When I lit up that stove, I knew that something was going on, because the fire started rumbling up. It began talking to me. You know, the fire began to talk. Inside the cabin there were 2 candles, a stack of magazines, and an old ashtray with some white ash inside. On the ceiling there was an oil lamp. Inside the glass I saw a window in the wall opening up. Looked really like a window was just forming there in the wall, you know. The guy who had built this place seemed to have found a perfect island. There was a stream there, and it was a perfect island. In the ground, and in a corner area of the island, there were some strange formations in the ground. It was like strange formations, like prehistoric excavations, you know, like someone had been digging around there. When I finished exploring the whole island, I came back. That's when I found the aluminium tube outside the door. I thought someone must have just put it there, you know, like it was so shiny. It couldn't have been there very long. But I've never seen that kind of shell. I thought it was a gun shell. But I've never seen a gun that fired those kind of bullets. It was too small and too long, like a medical object or something, like an ampule that you can inject into people. And I wondered if someone had left it there on purpose, or if I was just starting to deal with something I didn't really want to think about anymore. Then I went back inside, and I closed the door. I lit up the stove, and there were some old clothes inside. And when I took the logs from the pile outside, a lot of strange insects came out because the wood had been there so long. And I just lit the stove, and I put the spidery wood inside, and that's when the strange language began. I wanted to bring the guy who had inhabited the place back, show him some companionship, or to show him that someone else was using the place, that it wasn't forgotten, you know, because I had this idea that he was deceased, you know, that he was gone. I wanted to bring him back, so I did a simple kind of ritual to bring him back there. That's when I started to record the sound of what was happening. My mantras and the ritual and my invitation ritual to him. I pressed the record button.
Yeah, so that was Templum NR's I Am His Sacrifice on the Aural Hypnox record label. And I was just showing you guys there the physical edition that this is part of. I'll make the screen big here for a few minutes. Yeah, so this is what I was showing you guys there as we were listening to it. This is the Poison Portals album that it's one track on each side. The first side is the one that we just listened to, and then the second track is called the Ashen Mirror. The voice in that is a little strange to me. It really caught me off guard the first time I heard it, but regardless, I really love the story and the backing music and everything. But that release is extremely unusual in terms of what Aural Hypnox usually does. There's not usually that sort of spoken word stuff like that in there. It's usually much more of just a straight up ritualistic vibe, but I really enjoy the track regardless. Um, yeah, so let's go. I think we'll go ahead and check out this new one now. Transcendental Radiations 1 Permutation. This is real good shit. I need to get around to reviewing this album. I've been listening to this like crazy since it released. Oh, I should pull the screen back up over there so you guys can see it. Before I get to that, I'm actually I'm getting my incense heater going here right now. This is what I'll be burning. I started the morning off there with some Palo Santo from my stick here that I just got the other day. But this actually is an incense that was made by Aural Hypnox. Mount Hypnox incense, the Stellar Mansion varietal. And it just comes with a little bag of these incense pellets here. And you just kind of toss this pellet onto the burner. And it's a really, really amazing sense off of these. I have two different ones, or actually I think I have three. But yeah, so Stellar Mansion is the second offering in the series of handmade incenses by Mount Hypnox, which is part of the Aural Hypnox situation. This one that I'm getting ready to burn here includes spruce resin, birch leaves, and flowering tops of ledum palustre. They're gathered from specially chosen locations and carefully combined with copal and damar resins to accompany the ascensions and descensions of soulside pilgrimages. Ingredients have been harvested during the summer of 2014 and prepared during the autumn and winter of 2014. And they actually have the exact geographical coordinates that they got their materials from there, which is real cool. So and the good thing with incense, as it said there, these are from back in 2014, but when you're dealing with real resins, they usually hold their scent for literally decades. So even though this is about 6 or 7 years old at this point, I guess, whatever the time is, I'm bad at math. That's why I talk about dark ambient music and not math. But yeah, shouldn't have lost really any of its quality over these years as long as I've kept it sealed up. Before we play this next one, I'll go ahead and pull up their website here. So you guys can get an idea of the label that we're talking about this morning. I, as I said, I don't think I'm going to descend into a full coverage of Aural Hypnox. I think this is more or less just hanging out, um, watching some videos together. And then sometime in the very near future, I will do a much heavier coverage of this topic and this record label because they're one of my very favorite record labels. I have a mountain of their physical releases. They don't release any of this stuff in digital versions, so you either check out the videos that they've put up on YouTube or you buy the album and hope you like what you see. And I always do. Um, that is very much not in English, but it usually is. Yeah, so this last one, yes, Aural Hypnox is the law. Aural Hypnox is no fucking joke. Um, yeah, so you see here, they have their Primeval Vision store, which is where they create all of these physical editions that they do all of their printings there. They have all sorts of different stuff, like the one that I showed you, and then they've got cassettes that come in something that looks more like this. And then there's so many other variants, but I actually have. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'll try. I got this like T-shirt on my chair back here behind me. That's the Primeval Vision company. Oops, sorry, that was probably really loud. It's kind of hard to see. I turn up the light. Yeah, they've got all sorts of cool shit that they craft over there. So yeah, this one that we're about to listen to here, the cassette for it sold out like fucking immediately. Actually, they may have some over here at the Cloister Recordings. If anybody's in America, this might be a decent place to pick up some of their releases. But they're probably sold out here as well by now. It's been a couple of months at this point. But yeah, Cloister Recordings is a real nice American distro, along with Malignant also has a very nice American distro for this sort of music. Yeah, so that's what the physical edition looked like for the one that we're getting ready to watch. Transcendental Radiations is an Aural Hypnox label series, a continuation of their previous Underworld transmissions, which is what we were just listening to, the first video before the Templum NR one. So this is a continuation of that series. And those were from back in 2013 to 2015. My god, this incense smells so fucking good. Um, if any of you guys can ever get your hands on some of this shit, all of these different varieties of Mount Hypnox incense are just some of the most amazing smelling incense blends I've ever had. I really use this a little bit at a time. The noise and light from dark energy that floods the frontiers of understanding, and more specifically the mysterious colossal beings, stimuli that silently fire and interpenetrate our sensory receptors, are received and processed on tape and film in various seasonally stratified magnetic locations in Finland, Fenno-Scandinavia. The concept of the series is to invite artists from the Helixes collective in different combinations and under exposure to extremely low frequency magnetic fields to study, conceive, and reflect the passing random and rhythmic static and repetitive electrochemical activity, the neural oscillations and vibrating energy filaments streaming and running silently through the ubiquitous particles at the chosen location at that very moment. By using a variety of techniques, physical and chemical stimulation, we amplify and transform the waves of power propagating through the universe and synchronize ourselves through ecstatic interaction and intelligence that is in sound. The cassette is housed in an oversized screen printed cardboard cover, including 2 insert cards and an 8-panel booklet limited to only 94 copies. We fucking love this label everywhere, and they made 94 copies. They don't mess around. If you want it, you fucking buy it quick. Like the day it releases, like the hour it releases. If you, especially when they do special editions, if you want the special edition, you better fucking be ready to hit that pay button. I am not kidding. You better be ready. Uh, the packaging, the package is included with a Bandcamp download code. That's pretty fucking awesome. So yeah, they're finally starting to have. They've I guess I can say this now since I just read that, but yeah, over the years they've sent a few of these different releases to me as digitals. If you know, I've they've never sent like a physical edition for review consideration, but they have actually sent me a couple of digital copies of their albums. So I probably up to this point was one of the very few people around the world that had an official digital edition, but now they're starting to actually include Bandcamp codes with their releases, so that's probably real helpful for people. Um, the digital download edition will include a quality audio, high resolution scans of the original covers and inserts. If you're using a Bandcamp application, you will be able to stream the album without a need for downloading. Yeah, so that's real fucking sweet. I think that was the right decision for them. And also before we move on here, I'll also mention the interview that I did with Auntie. Yeah, here we go. Um, these two guys are pretty much the main people behind the label. There's a lot of people in the Aural Hypnox collective, but these two guys in Arctau are sort of they sort of been around from the beginning. Sort of run the show. It's I think Antti Litmanen and Antti Hapapura, if those are how you pronounce their names. It's I believe they are Antti and Antti. But yeah, this is a real interesting interview that they did with me, and they don't give a whole hell of a lot of interviews. So if you're into this music, I would highly recommend stopping by thisisdarkness.com and checking out my conversation with them, because they talked about some really detailed stuff there with me. As you can see, it's quite a long interview. They really gave me a lot of their, look how long this answer is. They really gave me a lot of their time on this. Super grateful to them for that. I actually was writing up these questions to them while I was on my flight home from Sweden when I was up there hanging out with Per and his sister Osa. We kind of got the idea that I should interview them while I was there, and then I went ahead and asked them, sent them an email while I was over there in Sweden, and they were like, "Yeah, let's fucking do it." So I sort of came up with all my questions while I was headed home from that, and then sent them over to them when I got back home, and we put this thing together by December, maybe 2 months, about a month and a half later, it was already done. All right, so without further ado, we will keep going here, unless anybody has any questions or comments. And also, Oh, sorry, I didn't notice your comment there, Thine Angel. Funny enough, I am now on that site. That track sounded amazing, so certainly going to check them out. Awesome, yeah, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I fucking love this label. These guys do not fuck around. They take their music very seriously. They take their rituals within their music very seriously. They take their packaging, their videos, excuse me, everything about these guys. They do it to 100%. They should be the model of what is to be done with dark ambient and ritual ambient music for really most everybody. I feel like there's not a whole hell of a lot of anybody that can outdo them on every single one of these levels. Um, you might like somebody's music better here or there. You might like somebody's packaging better here or there, but as far as just consistently across the board from music to live performances to the physical releases to just their general image, they are all in. All right, I'm going to disappear here from the screen for a few minutes, and then I will be right back, and we'll go ahead and hop into this, and then I'll be back with you guys in just a moment. this shit fucking awesome or what? Correct response is fuck yes. fucking love this part. That's exactly what I want to hear, Thine Angel. Thanks a lot, man. Or ma'am. I assume man, though. Yeah, this shit is fucking awesome. Yeah, so that was from Aural Hypnox's brand new release, Transcendental Radiations, Part 1. Um, I am a man! Cool, cool. I like to, cause, like, the usual thing here in the United States is kind of like to call everybody guys, whether you're talking to men or ladies, and, I used to always just like walking up to, because people so usually call everybody, hey, what's up, guys? I like to walk up to a group of guys and be like, what's up, ladies? And usually nobody fucks with me for saying it, but I think it's hilarious to do it. Occasionally you get the occasional guy that's like, I'm not a fucking lady. Like, dude, I know. I know. Before we move on any further here, well, before I do what was about to do, let's actually go back over to this. Hey guys and gals, that's what Omri Conan always says. VCV guy. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm just like, what's up, ladies? And people usually get the joke. Usually. Before we move on, yeah, this is what we were just listening to here. The Aural Hypnox Transcendental Radiations, which came out on cassette about 3 months ago, I think. And you can pick this up over at the Aural Hypnox web shop here, which is auralhypnox-shop.com. Well, you can't anymore because it's sold. Well, they have it on CD now. The CD might not be sold out. Yeah, it looks like this is still available. So yeah, you can actually get the second edition on CD now. Which also looks pretty fucking sweet. Straight from the north of Finland. And they've got a t-shirt for this release as well. All of their shirts are real fucking cool. I got one of their Templeman R shirts on right now. This is actually a long sleeved hoodie. It's a real nice shirt. I love wearing this in the fall. It's a little warm for it right now, but I wanted to wear it today anyway because it fits the setting. But yeah, look at all these releases. So much good shit here. So much good shit. Look at that fucking shirt. I want that shit. I'm gonna have to put in an order here soon. I blew this month's disability money on cameras and microphones and lighting for Twitch. Maybe I'll blow next month's disability check on Aural Hypnox releases. This one looks fucking badass too. Hell yeah. All sorts of awesome shit on here. Their Bandcamp page has nothing on it though. Don't know if they've just started out on it and will upload things later, or if they're intentionally keeping the albums hidden so you can only get it there when you buy the physical release. Exactly. They will likely never put things up on their Bandcamp page for sale. It is only there as a placeholder for when you put in your download code that you can stream the music that you've already purchased the physical release. But yeah, they don't have any way of downloading digitals. You can only get the physical edition, and then when you get the physical edition of the newest releases, those ones will be available to stream. But if you pick up any releases that came out probably before maybe this year or within the last year or two, any of their older releases are only going to be physicals, and you will not get a download code with those ones at all, because their main focus is on their physical editions, and for the first sort of decade and a half of their existence, they did not have any online presence except for these music videos. So they've just now started to include download codes for Bandcamp in their very latest releases, but everything before that was only physical. And we're gonna keep going with checking out some more of this, some more of these different releases here. But before we do that, I wanted to step backward again to what we were talking about before we got started with this. Since I mentioned these books, I'm not going to open them because, as I said, they're fucking disintegrating. But I will show you guys what these books look like. My human skin books that may or may not be actual human skin because I need to get them tested. It seems that most, or at least a lot, of dark ambient aesthetics, design, and stories are somehow connected to the occult, or themes that you typically find in death metal, black metal, which is totally fine for me. Just wondering if those artists are really serious about this, and if there is enough space or interest in themes that don't go along this path. Um, let me fully absorb your question before I answer it. I think there's a couple levels to this. Um, I mean, on a base level, some of these dark ambient artists are fucking absolutely 100% serious. Especially everybody on Aural Hypnox, everybody on Hypnagoga Press. Those two companies, I would say you have 100% confidence that they mean everything that they say. Um, Outside of that, I'm sure there are many dark ambient artists that are putting on an aesthetic, but I really, when I'm covering things, I think I try to weed out the ones that don't feel like they're serious. And when you look at artists like, particularly say on the Cryo Chamber label, they don't really push any of the ritual elements, or there may be occult themes, but they don't present themselves basically ever as something that is like a directly ritual experience, as opposed to Aural Hypnox, who very, very much consider every piece of their work to be a ritual experience, just the listening of it to be part of the ritual. Just indulging in this music is part of the ritual. Um, and that's sort of their consideration with these things. They take it 100% seriously. But there are definitely other labels out there that some labels might not take it seriously but still convey the ideas, and other labels just focus on aesthetic and don't focus on any necessarily deeper meaning. Uh, when you're thinking of things that are more cinematic dark ambient, then that is usually devoid of any kind of real deeper level of experience in the music. It's just focused on the surface level of a story that's being told. But some of these more what you would label as ritual dark ambient, those are quite often very, very serious about what they say and what they do, and every element of it, from all the way down the line, every element of it is part of their ritual experience. I think if that doesn't answer your question, maybe you would want to correct a little bit of what I'm saying here. But I would say to a much, much greater extent than the death metal and black metal communities, dark ambient musicians do mean what they say. I find it to be very much less aesthetic than, say, a random black metal band, and especially death metal bands. I think death metal bands, not exclusively by any means, but for a great portion of death metal bands, just put on the most extreme thing that they can and don't necessarily have any underlying meaning behind that extremity. Black metal is, more like hit or miss on this topic. There certainly are going to be some black metal people that take their shit seriously. Somebody like, Varg from Bertsum, for instance, I would imagine Varg means what he says when he's talking about shit. but then he doesn't necessarily go into like rituals or anything like that, but his aesthetic is his reality to a quite great extent, I would say. But then I'm sure I'm not as familiar with the black metal genre as a lot of other people and probably people in this chat, so you could correct me if you want. I'm fine with that on any topic. If you want to make a correction to what I'm saying, please do, and I will accept your correction if it appears to be accurate. Um, but yeah, I think especially when you have ritual dark ambient, that they really mean it. So at the beginning of the stream, I was discussing two books, one that I had got from my grandmother and one that I had got from my great aunt. And they both claim that these books are anthropodermic bibliopagy. They are products of anthropodermic bibliopagy, meaning human skin bookmaking. So apparently, one or both of these books, I need to do more of my own research to figure out if one of them is wrong, or both of them are wrong, or both of them are right. But taken at face value of what my family has told me, both of these books have been passed down in my family for generations, and they are bound in this. One of the two or both is bound in the skin of a witch's breast. This is that is the direct quote that I'm giving you from my grandmother and from my aunt. They both told me that that's what these are. They could be wrong, but they believe that they're right about this. That's the best I can say. So, this is the one here that I got from my grandmother. I'm not going to take it out because I don't want to get my oils on it. But you can just kind of have a look at it here in the plastic. And somebody's fucking put fucking tape on the binding. This is why I told them you really need to give these books to me, because they were not preserving them correct. They were not preserving them well at all. Really kind of made a mess of things. That was the one that my grandmother gave me. And then this one is even in even worse condition that I got from my aunt. And if you see here in the center where it's split, the cover is actually made by it's a wooden outline on the inside. There's a frame made of wood that comes in a rectangle around the outside and then comes down through the center here. And that's on both sides of this book. And then oh yeah. So yeah, this book is, this one particularly is 100% handcrafted. This is some really fucking interesting shit. And as I said, I haven't even been able to look through all of the pages of it because I tried to start having just the most basic glimpse inside of it, and it was just crumbling. The whole thing. I mean, we're talking whether the story that goes with these books is true or not. These books both have to be, the one has to be at least 150 years old, and I would say the other one is probably closer to 250 years old at the very least. They're just totally disintegrating, and the construction of the books themselves seem, the bigger one that I showed you first appears to be newer, probably from the 1800s, and the second one is, God only knows how old. That thing's 1700s, 1600s, something like that. I don't know. It's really old. Just, I mean, I've seen old books, and this looks older than anything that I've ever seen, honestly. Dream states and room and spaces you're in. Yeah, dream. I want to do a stream in the near future talking about sleep music, different dark ambient releases that I really love to listen to while I'm asleep at night. Something that I can just pick either one track or an entire album and put the track or the album on repeat, and then lay down and listen to it until I pass out, and then have it be the first thing that I hear when I wake up in the morning. I really, really, really love having stuff like that. Let me put these things back into their box. I don't want them to fall out across the floor. That would be terrible. Well, I'll. Was there anything else I wanted to say before I hopped into the next video? I don't think there was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm taking it extremely seriously, regardless of this, whether the story turns out to be inaccurate or not. Just the fact that these books are as old and as fragile as they are, I'm taking it with an extreme level of respect and fragility. And if the stories end up being true for one or either of them, then that just makes it 10 times better. But it's already, as a book collector and a student of archaeology and ancient history, these are just, I'm so glad that I have them in my hands and I'm able to make sure that they don't degrade any further. I mentioned that actually at the beginning of the stream. So the bigger book, the first one that I showed, is actually The Pilgrim's Progress, which is sort of like the Odyssey, like Homer's The Odyssey, only in a Christian narrative. You sort of follow this man on an epic journey um, through a Christian context. So, with that said, if that one is truly bound in a witch's breast, then I find that to be quite disturbing, actually, because the only reason that you would bind a Christian book in a witch's breast is not a very, very good reason. That seems like a very, very bad reason to do that. So, if that's true with that one, that is quite disturbing. That could You could probably consider the connotations of what that might mean for the witch if if somebody had a Christian book and then bound a Christian book in a pagan witch's skin, that's bad news. But the other one actually appears to be I can't get past the first page or two because, as I said, the pages were literally crumbling, and I don't want to destroy the book. I want somebody that has some professional way of documenting this for me to be able to open it in a way that it won't totally be destroyed, and properly photograph the pages, and then I'll study those photographs and not the book itself. I've only had the book in my hands one time since I got it, and then I put it directly into this Ziploc and put it into storage because I don't want it to degrade any further than it already has. But the second one definitely appears to be some sort of occult material on the inside and of no Christian. It's definitely religious and it's definitely not Christian. That's all I can say about it from what I've seen so far. So I hope that the second one is the real one, because if it's an occult book and it's bound in a witch's breast, then that would mean that it was probably written by that witch, or at least it was written by somebody else but created by that witch, and then when they died they wanted to have their own skin used as the binding in order to make it an even stronger connection to them. So in the context of the second one, that would be really cool. But in the context of the first one, that's like some Christians fucking shit up. Yeah, I really want to know more about them too. I'm just I first found out of their existence when I was somewhere between 12 and 14 years old, and I've just been incredibly interested in the topic and these particular books since then. Um, so yeah, did I hope that properly freaked a couple people out. It's sort of freaky to me, but I've um my level of caution is significantly lower than my level of interest or whatever you want to say. I'm more inclined to know more than I am inclined to be scared of these. And my aunt, I think, was more in that direction, and my grandmother was more in the direction of sort of being freaked out by them because she did get breast cancer, and I think that really freaked her out when she had this book and she had certain feelings about the book, and then something happened to her in a direct relation to the same body part. I think that really fucked with her, and that's why she put hers outside, and then the process of deterioration increased very quickly. So I had to get it away from her before it was. I mean, if she passed and I didn't know where it was, then it could just be lost forever. So I just came to her one day about 2 or 3 years ago and sat down and was just like, look, here's my, I went to school for this. I know how to handle these things. I've literally dug up 2,500-year-old artifacts in ancient Roman cities. So if anybody in the family is in a position to preserve these and save them and research and learn more about them, I am that person. So I really, really want you to let me have these books while you are still alive, to actively gift it to me and not have me sort of take it and maybe have to have some sort of an argument with family members to figure out who gets it, when I feel that I have the best argument for why it should be in my possession. So she agreed with me and she went ahead and got the book and gave it to me, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And then I just got the second one about 3 to 5 months ago. About a month or two before my aunt died. I didn't even know that the book existed. I came over to her house one day and she was like, yeah, your grandmom's wrong. I have the real one and here it is. And she gave it to me right then and there. So I was like, holy shit, that's so like considerate of you, and honestly the right decision to make. And I didn't even know that hers existed. So again, she passed away several months after she gave me the book, and if she hadn't, I would have never even known about it. And I didn't ask her, she just said, hey, I know you got the other one, here's this one. And now it's in my hands to figure out the truth of the story. All right, so are we having fun with checking out these Aural Hypnox videos? Would we like to watch another one? Do we want to keep going with the music videos on their official channel, or do we want to move over to some live concerts that were captured by various fans? I think at least one of these here should be pretty high quality. Maybe two of them should be pretty high quality. Maybe three of them. They actually had some pretty good videography on these live sets. Live, please. Sounds good. Okay, we have one from 2019. These are all going to be Arctau Eos. Another one from 2019. And one from 2014. So this one's 34 minutes. This one's an hour. This one's 16 minutes. And this one's... Okay, we'll check out this 8-minute one first. This is a pretty quick one, and this may be the highest quality. And I'll go ahead and put these books away once we get this started here. They consider their live performances to be rituals, so the faint of heart may want to leave now. All right. Did we enjoy that little performance there? I did a little quick meditation while I was listening. Good. That's what I wanted. um, yeah, if people are enjoying this, we'll keep going with the videos, and I think I'll also keep talking about the actual albums themselves while we're at it. Um, I'll go ahead and, since we just listened to an Arctau Eos performance here, and then maybe we'll listen to another one afterward. I'll show you guys a couple of my Arctau Eos physical releases. If anybody was here at the beginning of the stream, we were listening to their newest album during my 10-minute countdown there, which is Eremos. And then the one before that was Catacomb Resonator. So, I think I got both of these right here. I'll grab these first. I'll pull up Eremos here real quick that we can listen to while I'm showing you. Hell yeah. Yeah, see, this is a really unique CD case here. Watch how I open this up. Says here on the inside, all instruments and vocals by Antti Hapapur and Antti Litmanen. Field recordings done in the Mongolian steppe in 2014 and in the North Ostrabathian woods in 2018. That is up near Oulu in Finland. Is Oulu, is that how you pronounce that city's name? If anybody may know. What the disc looks like. Little serpent there. And then they always usually come with some sort of art prints. It also came with the biography of Arctau Eos. down just a little bit. If you guys if you need me to turn it down anymore so you can hear me, let me know. But I don't want to turn it down too low. I keep turning things down too low when I'm talking. Aural Hypnox came into being in 2005 in Oulu, Finland. The work and pact of two men known as the initials AIH and AIL, respectively. Aural Hypnox present a curious blend of archaic elemental music, performance, and artwork, which has been received exceptionally well among listeners of many genres, such as experimental, minimalistic music, dark ambient, or the old-school ritual music typified by early Einsof or the Necrovile Records roster from the mid-80s. Nevertheless, Aural Hypnox have always been driven by urges other than emulation, and their outlaw mentality has led them to carve a path unlike anyone else. Now in the 13th year of operation, they are determined as ever to continue further into unknown territories. This was 2008, so I guess they've been around for maybe closer to 16 years now. Aural Hypnox have performed internationally in the UK, Russia, in the United States, and Romania, Norway, Sweden, Germany, Spain, France, and Finland. They were invited to contribute a track to Tesserae, a musical supplement to Abraxas International Journal for Esoteric Studies, Volume 2. The music of Aural Hypnox has also been used at the Museum of Alchemy in Kutná Hora, Czech Republic. Somebody here might also be cringing at my pronunciation of that, sorry. About this particular release, Eremos, they say, while intentionally minimal on the surface, layer upon layer of subtle, haunting, and evocative sounds are slowly revealed to the attentive listener. Eremos aims at nothing less than the total transition of the listener to the desert realms implied by the title. Old synthesizers and ritualistic acoustic elements are seamlessly blended with even more obscure aural phenomena, including field recordings done in northern Finland and the untamed steppes of Mongolia. As has been the testimony of wise men and women of all faiths, solitude bestows its own distinct gifts upon the seeker, a process here treated in less intimate terms than on the voice-led catacomb resonator. Eremos is more expansive. The desert that opens before the listener is not a locus of temptations or simple retreat, but a vivid inner mindscape of dramatic confrontations and transformations between flora, fauna, stellar matter, earth, and stone. Each of them subtly sheds away the humanness in its most banal sense, until man identifies with the scorpionic voice of power that carries to the ends of the earth and cosmos. Yeah, just every inch of this thing is covered in awesome stuff. Like, even just those little inner fold-out things have these beautiful sigils on them. And then that all goes back inside this little plastic sleeve here. This format of physical release is what many of their CDs come in. That sort of the way that it folds out and opens up and then has like a CD and various artworks inside of it. That's pretty common across their CD releases. They aren't all like that, but most of them are. And then I'll play a little bit of Catacomb Resonator while we look at that one. I gotta clean my room up. I'm running out of places to put things down after previous streams. This one is more voice driven and a bit more minimalistic than the last one we were just listening to. This is their second to newest release, Catacomb Resonator. And this just sort of opens out as a vinyl. And we've got the record here. And then we have this print that's attached to the inside of the sleeve. So this one, the declaratio, the declaration for this album, is beyond the arch that stands between worlds, new constellations rise, eyes ablaze, lanterns of holy fire in the firmament, a whisper woven in the palm of a mummified hand, echoing through the cryptoportico, motionless yet upheld by streams rising from the depths, in stone sealed, oblivious to the passage of aeons. A grain from a root, a seed inside you, a man, a catacomb resonator. And this has abyssal psalmody, which I suspect means the vocals that they're using here. The way that they're using their voice, they're interpreting that as abyssal psalmody. And then there are aromatic electronics, and archaic bells. And this was created between 2015 and 2017 by the two antis, AIH and AIL. And the artwork, as quite often, was done by KTL. It's really interesting. You see the way I'm looking at it because, well, I'm colorblind and I'm bad with reds, but it's just very lightly printed upon the sleeve, so you need to sort of focus on it. Then here's the record itself. It's a quite nice quality. It's not the top heaviness of vinyls, but it's definitely in the heavier direction. It's not one of the real thin ones. And then on the flip side, we have the Aural Hypnox label logo. And I'll go grab my jacket real quick to show you guys where I have that. Some of you may have seen this in a previous stream, but I'll be right back. So I basically just, excuse me, I basically just went to Old Navy and picked up a bomber jacket, a black bomber jacket. So it's just regular Old Navy brand. And then I bought this patch from their website, and I sewed this patch onto the back of my bomber jacket. So now I have my own personal official Aural Hypnox jacket. Official to me, not to them. I really love wearing that. And I'm sure they still have more of those patches left on their site if anybody else wants to do the same thing. I'm not sure they do, but I think they do. I was looking at their shop on Instagram while I was outside a little while ago on my little intermission there, and it looks like they have like a full shop there in Ulu where you can pick up all of their different clothing and all of their CDs and everything. They probably have they're probably storing their full catalog there on that property. So anything that's available online, if you happen to have the pleasure of being in North Finland at some point, I would definitely try to find that Primeval Visions store. I would just love to wander through that building and spend a couple $100. And I think we'll keep listening to this one a little bit longer, and I'll just go ahead and show you guys the rest of my Arctaueos releases here. Let's see if I can do this in the proper order. I don't know that I have all of them, but I'll show you the ones that I do have, and I think this is the correct order going from newest to oldest right now that I'm showing you guys. So this is one of their few releases that they didn't do on their own label, but it's absolutely fucking beautiful. I picked this up off of Discogs. It's not available for sale anywhere anymore, so you just have to get it secondhand. Absolutely fucking beautiful cover art. This is, the album is called Underworlds. And, this one comes with a real reasonably thick booklet that comes with that vinyl. Again, the Serpent. And, there's some really cool shit inside of here. This was released on Spark Records. That they had another release that this one was also on that same label, Spark Records, and this is another beautiful release. See, we have well, I'll finish showing you the outside. We have this outer cover here, and then the CD pops out of that. Get my light off of it. I love all of these, but this one is honestly my least favorite. It's one of my very favorite physical releases, but one of my least favorite musical releases by Arctaueos. And now we're going back closer to the beginning of the project. My honest opinion to the music is that it's quite decent to listen to actively, but not so much for passively listening to. Yeah, good point. Yeah, you should really be dedicating your time to this and really focusing. Oh, this is one of the projects that if anybody was here when I was talking about this the other day, I cannot drive when I'm listening to Aural Hypnox releases. I can't fucking drive. I will put on one of their albums in my car, and then I will start to go into a meditative state, and then I will feel like I'm about to wreck my car, and then I have to immediately change to some other kind of music. It's one of the only things that does this to me, but whenever I put on Aural Hypnox releases while I'm driving, I'm like, oh my god, I have to stop. No shit, I'm fucking serious. So then we have Scorpion Milk. This is one of the older ones. And this is one of those packages like the last one that I showed you. This here on the cover of Scorpion Milk is an image that came to them in a vision during one of their rituals. And this is the graphic interpretation of the vision. Beautiful booklet, like always, just absolutely beautiful booklets that come with these. I'm not going to show all of what's inside because you should really find your own. I will go ahead and read the historical note to this one that will explain it a little bit better, though, because it's a kind of interesting read here. Scorpion Milk was originally conceived as a shadow companion to the first Arctaueos album, Mirorion. While sharing its origins with Mirorion, in mood and execution, Scorpion Milk is almost completely its opposite. A lone candle bearer who responds to no call but silence itself, as it was described at the time. Mirorion was a prolonged project stretching over several months, seething with serpentine energy, multi-layered and abounding with minute detail. To properly earth it and complete the cycle, a contemplative, subdued, counter-massive collection of ritual implements, including over a dozen kanglings, gathered for the Mirorion sessions. Several complex shrines and various thematic elements were all discarded and everything reduced to the barest minimum. It is also very much a live recording and mix. If Mirorion was a collection of eldritch spells scrawled on the petals of the Black Lotus, then Scorpion's Milk is its distilled nectar. The entire operation was completed in a single intense weekend. At this critical juncture, the personnel involved first opened the gates to the unknown realms of magnetic flux before moving the temple laboratory to its present location under the name Katayan Kaiku, sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Thus, Scorpion Milk became the first Helix's release to draw its astral shape and language of motion from an interaction involving equipment of ancient and obscure origins. A method that has been put to good use on the most subsequent Helix's albums. Inaugurating the new temple laboratory involved the sacrifice of a certain power object, brought from Nepal, at the moorlands nearby the old studio. Thenceforth, the work in Katayan Kaiku has been ongoing to this day, which this was quite a while back. The power of Scorpion Milk is no less potent than that of Mirorion, but it is withdrawn, latent, as indeed is that of the Scorpion Sting. To Arctaueos, it was also a tool with which to survive the severity of the Mirorion ordeals. Both albums resonated far and wide out in the world, and we were flooded with feedback from people sending drawings and descriptions of visions. Now 8 years later, this trident of poison, nourishment and creation, all ciphered by milk, may serve another generation of listeners. So I was talking pretty heavily there about the Mirorion album, which I'll show you guys here next. I'll have to get up and go get it real quick. 1 second. I did accidentally skip over a release here in my chronology, so I'll come back to that one last. This is in their other style of CD case. This is another one that's recurring and quite nice. It's sort of a larger version of the ones that I've shown you before. See, it still opens out in the same way. If I can get it here properly, I don't ever want to mess it up. I usually do it like this. Then that opens, and it has all these things inside of it. It's like full of stuff. It's literally full of stuff. And again, it's like every inch of this thing has artwork on it. And they have this full booklet here that's talking about this album, Mirorion. Absolutely beautiful artwork throughout this thing, and again, I'm not going to show the whole thing because I recommend people discovering it on their own, but just to sort of give you guys a little bit of a preview of what you're in for if you do decide to start picking these up. And then we have this this letter envelope that is also full of art prints here. Some of these are from concerts. Some of them are from rituals, some of them are visual representations of dreams or visions related to the rituals. I'll only show the first one there of that because, again, I don't want to spoil this for everybody, including the label. I don't want to give away all of their secrets in my stream here. I'd rather you guys pick these things up and discover them on your own, in your own personal time. I just got like one of their releases a couple years back, and I was so impressed by it that I just like dropped all the money I had for like months on end on this shit. And then I finally came to a point where I had most of their releases that were readily available. I have literally probably 20-25 Aural Hypnox releases sitting here. And this was the one that I had accidentally skipped over. This was their third album that came right after Mirorion and then Scorpion Milk. And this is I My Ra. And this is a 2 CD set here. Let's see what we got going on with the sounds here. Okay, I have that one on here, so we'll just listen to a little bit of this. I actually ripped this one myself for my own personal use, so we won't play very much of it, but just to give you a small idea of what it sounds like. And then this one also has a full booklet with it here. You've got in one direction the disc 1's description, and then you flip it over, and then the backside is disc 2, where it talks about that. And this one is really cool because it goes into, for each of the tracks on the album, it talks about where it was done, when it was done, what was happening during it, and the exact instrumentation that they used. This is one of my favorite releases by them, I My Ra. I have to be careful putting it back together, but it's worth it to be in this sort of edition. I really can't stress highly enough how much I love these handcrafted physical releases. So I think that covers all of the Arctau Eos releases. I think I have all of them. If I missed one, I'm sorry, but I do think that that's all of their physical releases up to this date. So, I'm gonna go out and get a stretch here. I've been running for 2 hours and 47 minutes, so, if you guys are still hanging out here, maybe we'll keep going, or maybe I'll pick back up on this at a later time.